Welcome back to Next Scene Podcast. Niall McGowan and John Parker join us with their thoughts on the latest entry to the Home Alone cinematic universe. Take it away, folks.
It's dark and it's cold and I feel I'm getting older. And I wonder, are you watching Home Alone too? Are you watching Home Alone too?
I'll use that as a segue into the 2021 Home Sweet Home Alone sort of reboot. It's it's in the Home Alone universe. We see McAllister's, and that was kind of my opinion, that I think they really nailed that section of the film, that the kind of the attack on the house part with the booby traps and everything else is good. And I mean, everything else around it was, a war crime, but,
Well, I'm so torn on the movie, right? Because some parts of it I really enjoyed. I think overall, it's the best sequel since this one, in many ways.
Interesting.
The traps, that whole assault on the house, fantastic. And they take such punishment. But it also feels kind of real. I don't know, it's weird. But the real elephant in the room here is the reason they're robbing the house. That is my problem with the movie, is that you're supposed to, in a Home Alone movie, be cheering the child on, butchering these adults. But in that movie, in the new one, you're kind of on the adults' side, because they're just trying to save their home.
Oh yeah,
and their children, and they think that this little kid has stolen from them the one thing that's going to save the day.
Well, I would have left out that kinda, John. Like, I'm 100% on the adult side, and also I hated the kid. So all I was, even though I knew that they were good people, they weren't going to do anything to him, I was like, I hope they do just go homicidal and kill this kid when they get in there as well. Like, why not? Just get rid of this little turd.
I like the actor a lot. But yeah, they need to make him a bit more likable, because there was me joking earlier that Kevin's a bit annoying, but he's still charismatic. I don't know. You still kind of like him. There's something to him.
So Kevin, I kind of forgive. Just he's childish, but he's a child. Like, I kind of get the feeling like he's got annoying, like a lot of annoying bits in the way that a child can be annoying. But Macaulay Culkin as an actor is just, he has got it. I want to watch. I want to see what he's going to do. And I also get the impression that other than the sadistic streak, he could grow up to be a nice person. This Max in this film is annoying in a way that makes me think he's going to be an annoying adult. He's
going to be Buzz.
He's going to be Buzz. It's funny. Maybe not funny, but when I heard about this film, and it's like, oh, the kid from Jojo Rabbit is going to be like the new Kevin, or is going to be the star of the film, and I hadn't seen Jojo Rabbit at that point, so I'm like, whatever. And then saw Jojo Rabbit, and I first thought, oh, this kid is great. Like, this kid has got it.
The lead.
The lead, the Roman Griffin Davis.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I can watch this kid. He's got that Macaulay Culkin quality that as a child, like he carries the film. He's the star. He's the titular character of Jojo Rabbit. And he's, but then I look in IMDb, I'm like, oh no, the kid, this is before the Sweet Home Alone had come out. And I'm like, oh no, he's not in the film. It's the kid. It's the other kid. It's Yorkie. It's, the best friend from Jojo Rabbit who is in Home Sweet Home Alone. And I knew they were in trouble right there, because I'm like, oh, I didn't like that kid. That kid was annoying.
Oh, see, I loved him in Jojo Rabbit. Fantastic. I thought he was one of my favorite things in the movie, but it doesn't work for the main character of a Home Alone. Like, he could be one of Kevin's brothers.
Right. He could,
the family.
Yes. But
he could be the filler.
He could, or the Buzz even, he can, he could be in the film, but as the main character, I'm like, and he may grow up to be a wonderful person and may go on to have a great career as an actor. But at this stage, I don't think he's ready to carry a film the way Macaulay was, when he was 8 and 10.
No, you're right. You're right.
And then at the end, so part of it is, like, I knew when it's, so they're breaking in, Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney are breaking in because they think Max has stolen this doll. And it's like, okay, it's a film, it's a setup. He didn't steal the doll.
I thought he did. I fell for it.
I kind of knew there was going to be a twist. I knew he didn't steal the doll.
I hated him that much. I assumed he stole it.
But he did steal. He stole the energy drink or whatever that Rob had.
Oh, the orange soda. Yeah,
the
orange soda.
So he is a thief. He didn't steal the doll, but he's still a little thief. This little rat.
At that point, when they reveal though that he didn't steal the doll, it's too late at that point because I already hated him so much. And I think like towards the end, when all the traps are going off and stuff, and he's ready for good Home Alone times. The thing is, because the wet bandits deserve it so much. Like, you can project Tommy DeVito onto Joe Pesci and be like, oh, that guy deserves all the hell in the world to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Because Ellie Kemper is she's just such an adorably likable person. And she's a genuinely, good character in this. Not good in terms of like the character's good, but she's a good person. Yes. I remember there's a bit where she gets completely winded, nearly burnt, and she starts crying. And I'm just like, I'm watching a woman who I really like crying because she's getting physically abused, trying to get into this kid's house. It's like, this isn't fun. This is horrible.
It's like, weird, isn't it?
Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah,
let's take this lovable actress that we all like, and we'll set her up in this character, and we'll give her time to build that character so she becomes sympathetic, and then we'll just beat on her and abuse her and make her cry.
You could have done, right, which would have made it, I'm not saying it would be perfect, but to make it more nuanced, would have been the kid didn't steal from them, but they find out this family has some precious doll, and they're like, if we steal that, we can sell it, and that'll save our house. Right. And that makes it a bit more like gray.
Yeah, like they're already rich. They won't miss this doll.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know what it's worth. Yeah, that would have added something. Yeah, maybe. At least give it less of a sour taste. Because the whole time you're just like I think I was alluding to earlier that they've obviously thought through. Well, you can't just have. Well, they ended up doing it anyway because they were like, okay, so the McAllisters are a very rich, privileged family. And so, but they're the heroes, and then of course the wet bandits who are just like, oh, they're from the lower classes, I guess. They're the villains, so they're kind of trying to like, well, maybe that might stick in people's craws these days. So we'll have the crooks be someone very relatable, and they are kind of the good guys, and then the villain is the kid, but he's the rich one. And there's kind of an idea there, but then you're also like, but it's Home Alone, so I'm prefixed to be on the kid's side.
Yeah, and it's clearly shot like you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, if the burglars are the good guys and the kid is the bad guy, then it's still like the ending favors the kid. And I realize in the sort of twist, it's a happy ending for the burglars as well. But it's like, but they still set up like so why doesn't the kid kind of get his comeuppance in the end? Like he never gets punished.
Well, yeah, he's just a brat the whole way through. He never gets any.
The thing is, this is what's difficult because from the movies, the way it's portraying it, he is scared for his life. Like so, he feels justified in what he's doing. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? I don't know because how do you approach that? He thought people were coming in to kidnap him.
Yeah. I'm still all that though. I just still because at the beginning he's so unlikable when he comes in to view the house, and he's just doing it like, "Oh, mom, you can't promise a McDonald's to a child and not deliver." And it's just like, and this is when he's all sass mouthed everybody, and it's just like, oh god, I hate this kid so much. And to be fair, it's because I've met kids like him. So I'm like, I can understand wanting to kill this kid. So it'd almost be like if they were just wanting to break in the house just to kill the kid. Like there was no doll involved. I'll be like, I get it. Yeah, that's it.
We just want to murder this boy.
Yeah. So a question I have is, so I mean, we've talked about what they've done with Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney as the burglars, what they've done with this kid Max. Was there any character in the film you did like?
I mean, I liked Ellie Kemper.
Yeah, I always. Okay. The whole time I was just like, Kimmy Schmidt has been through enough. Just let the woman rest, for Christ's sake. So she was a mole woman for like 10 years. Come on.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, I did not realize until it made it very obvious, because I'm stupid, that Buzz is in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you like him.
It's real, like, we wanted Macaulay We couldn't get him, but the next best thing,
We got
right?
Buzz. Yeah.
I think that's more realistic though, because it's
You can imagine them
realistic.
going into the studio and actually pitches like, "We got the next best thing." Oh, Catherine O'Hara. No.
The next best thing.
Kieran
The next
Culkin.
best thing.
No. Joe Pesci. No. It's lower.
Brent
Daniel
Stewart.
Nope.
Daniel Stern.
Oh,
Scarlett
God, yeah.
Johansson. It's like, no,
Scarlett-
we definitely.
This is like the casting the villains for Batman and Robin. They just keep going down the list.
And actually, at the beginning, I hated Keenan.
Mhm.
Keenan Thompson's in the movie. I hated him
Yeah.
in the beginning because to me he set the tone initially. I was like, oh,
Right.
this is like really silly. Okay, but the more he kept popping up, the more I got into him when he was pretending to be the personal trainer and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. That was
Yeah.
funny.
But
Oh,
sorry, you can go ahead, Niall.
That was Keenan's cameo. It distracted me in that I thought they were trying to. There's a couple of times this happens actually in the movie. I thought they were trying to make intertextual jokes
Mm.
because Keenan's there, and then the next scene very prominently features orange soda.
Yeah.
And of course, if anyone grew up in the 90s, would know like, oh, who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda, not Keenan. Kel. And they're like, okay. And then later on, at one point, because Ellie Kemper's character's name is Pam.
Pam.
And someone calls her Pamalama Ding Dong, which is something Michael Scott would call Pam in The Office.
Mhm.
But Ellie Kemper didn't play Pam in The Office. She played the other secretary.
Yeah.
So it feels like they're trying to do like a little intertextual joke, but you're like, but you're not there. You're like you've pointed it in the wrong direction.
It's for
Right.
the deep divers like us.
Maybe
They-
they're like, yeah.
That's what it is.
But surely Kel Mitchell would have been easier to get than Keenan Thompson.
But less of a name. You know, Keenan's a big deal these days. Saturday Night Live. You know?
That's the shocking. There's so many like actual, like, oh yeah, you couldn't get like, you know, I actually feel like you could have got like a Daniel Stern or someone in this, but the fact then that Devin Buzz, he's the only one. But then some of the other people they have in there are like, why are you here? Like Andy Daly is the dad, and like Andy Daly's great. Like, you know, review with Forrest McNeil, like he's a legend. Voice of Two-Face in the Harley Quinn TV show. And then friggin' Jim Rash shows up as well. And you're like, Jim, you can't need to be in Home Alone. Like
Hey,
7 or whatever this is.
If people say to me, we're doing a new Home Alone, do you want to be in it? Ellie Kemper's in it. I'm like, yeah, let's roll.
Yeah, I feel a bit bad for Ellie Kemper. I just think, oh man, you're better than this. But like Jim Rash is like a little. There was 2 scenes actually that made me laugh. One was his scene where he's the choir they're in is called the Never Do Bells,
Yeah.
and they're like a bell choir. I thought that that's funny. And then he's like, because they're trying to talk throughout and they're not getting their cues right, and it's all Jim Rash's expressions and how disapproving he is because it's just Dean from Community. So you're like, I love that character. So yeah, I'm happy for him just to revive that part to do this. And there's a bit later on, or maybe earlier, where her husband, like, you know, Ellie Kemper's husband, says he runs off to do something and he says he's going out to get milk. And she's on the phone, and behind her, you can see like the fridge is brimming with about 15 different kinds of milk.
And almond milk and everything.
Yeah, and then she picks up like a giant jug of milk and kind of ice it up. And I actually laughed at that. I was like, that's a good joke, actually. That's so two jokes in it that really got me.
There's some good stuff in the movie. I think it's worth a watch. It's not Home Alone 1 or 2. But it's not Home Alone 3 or 4 or 5 either.
Yeah, I'll say that I don't think it's worth a watch, but I would say it's not that bad. Like it's nowhere near as bad as I was being led to believe it was going to be. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise where I was like, oh, I was expecting this to be like enraging, but it wasn't. It was like, oh no, it's just kind of bad. But it's like I can imagine having this on in the background during.
Yeah.
I wonder though. This is the thing. I'm curious about the future of lackluster Christmas movies because many of them became classics simply by the fact that they were on every year. Like Jingle All the Way isn't really a good movie.
No, but I love it.
Yeah, but it's beloved because we would have grown up with it. Oh, it's on TV every year, so you just could have watched it all the time. Whereas Home Sweet Home Alone would have been that kind of thing, where it's like it's just on every year, so it kind of becomes a holiday classic. But because it's on streaming, you would have to go out of your way to put it on. It's not just it's just on TV by default, so it sort of amasses popularity. It's more like, would people want to put this on and actually sit and watch it?
That's why every streaming service, the only ones I can think of, Shudder, and I think Netflix have the option, sort of now, they should basically have a channel on the app.
Like a shuffle kind of thing.
Yeah, Shudder have 3 channels when you open Shudder, and it's got like classics and it just shows stuff like that they've chosen. Like Disney should do that. Like and at Christmas it could be like, oh, you put the Christmas channel on.
It's weird that I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, and now it's like it's just we're slowly falling back into just normal television.
But in the app, that's the thing.
yeah.
In the there's certain. Well, I just want to agree that there's a body of work. There's certain films that are kind of become beloved or at least tolerated because there was nothing else on and they got watched so many times. Whereas now with streaming and everything else, there's so many entertainment choices that there's no reason to watch a bad movie until it becomes good.
That's why like every Halloween, I'm like, oh, Halloween 4 and 5, gotta stick them on because I used to see them every Halloween. And like they're terrible movies, but they're kind of great because I grew up with them. So but I just don't know if like the Home Alone, Sweet Home Alone will never have that corner of the market of like, yeah, we just needed something for the background and it was on already. It would have to be like we are going to choose a movie and there's like a billion things that are better, so we're not going to put this on. Like it comes up against that, but. I guess there's a lot of those Hallmark channels though. They're still doing big bucks. They're just churning out Christmas crap every year. So. Yeah, they're doing okay, but should we talk about Buzz or like what do you guys make of his whole scene? Cause
loved every second of it. I thought it was he's the kind of person who would still be in the town or whatever. Is it the same town?
Yeah, so it is the same town, and I guess I thought it was kind of a cute callback, and you kind of wonder because they get the call and then he's like no. They get the call about a kid left home alone. He's like, no, it's my brother. He's pranking me because of that time, the many times when this happened.
Oh, and it implies that Kevin now makes home security equipment.
Yeah. Of course, the logo is basically the logo of Home Alone as well. The McAllister Home Security is the little blue house. Like, okay, all right, I'll give that to you.
I like that. And I suppose in the old days, it would have had a different sort of message, seeing Buzz becoming a police officer. Because in the old days in a movie, that would be saying, "Oh, Buzz came good.
Yeah,
Buzz
he
turned his life
himself.
around, redeemed himself." Whereas now it's almost like saying, "Well, of course the bully became a cop."
Yeah,
that's how things have changed. That's in Twin Peaks. Bobby Briggs becoming a cop is like, "Oh, Bobby, he's straightened up and he's flying right now. Good for him." But now, like a mere 5 years later, it's like, "Oh, yeah, bullying asshole, incompetent slob. Of course he's a cop. Yeah, that tracks."
Just a big shift in the metrics.
But yeah, I did actually. I thought that was about as good as you were going to get. Really, was just the idea that like, Kevin owns a home security system. But it's like, that's all right. That's a cute idea. Like that's it. Just tracks. It makes
sense.
Logical. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's Buzz is still kind of like, he's he is recognizably Buzz. Like he's kind of an asshole, but you can see there's a little bit of good in him as well. Yeah. And every time I see that guy, I think I talked about it in the last season, but like last time when we covered Home Alone, but I don't think you were there for that, John. But
no.
Every time I see that actor now, I keep thinking of Natasha Lyonne said in an interview her first ever kiss was that guy. On the set of Dennis the Menace. They were canoodling behind the scenes because they're both in that movie when they're kids. And so every time I see Buzz, I'm like, man, that's not Natasha Lyonne's first kiss is that guy.
Well,
and now seeing him grow up is like, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
He's counting his blessings now.
Yeah. So, But yeah, the characters I liked. Don't think so. I was appalled.
I mean because going back to quickly the choir director, he does have some I guess amusing or entertaining lines, but he seems like such a jerk, and I guess part of it is so he's so annoyed Rob Delaney shows up late. He could just be like, okay, you're finally here, let's go. But he's got to make, someone's on their own schedule or something. Like the snide remarks, I instantly disliked him. So I'm like, there's no one in this film I liked.
Yeah. I was appalled by, and I know it was a topic of internet fervor, and I can understand why. As Ashley B, beloved Irish actress and comedian Ashley B, having to put on a very posh English accent.
Oh, it was an irritating accent. I hated it.
And it's not, the thing is, like, it's one point I was kind of joking, like, it's like a betrayal kind of thing. But like, I don't really mean that. But her accent is terrible. Like, it's
fine.
I thought that was very, very, very distracting.
Ah.
I know
When I don't,
she got all these kind of grillings online. Like, why is your character English?
Yeah.
And she just had to come out and goes like, because the character is English. Like, what do you want from me? That's why I'm doing an English accent. And
but
I could
why?
actually,
Why was she English?
I'll posit it's because they had Andy Daly as the dad, and he either couldn't or wouldn't do an English accent. They
Mhm.
had that little kid, and they're like, "Well, he's got an English accent. He can't do it."
Yeah,
Like,
one of them has to be. Yeah.
Yes,
He's a
something's
kid.
got to give. We can't have her be Irish, the dad be American, and the kid be inexplicably English. So somebody's got to do an English accent.
All right.
And even though Andy Day is in one scene, he could have taken the bullet. He's
Yeah.
like, no,
I mean,
no,
that's-
I'm gonna
that part is so
American.
small. I didn't even realize he was the father.
No, I didn't at first
These-
either.
that part is so.
Why
I was
didn't they
only
just
it's
say
entirely
like?
because of the
you-
glasses. Like it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
he's wearing glasses. Oh, he must be his dad. That was the only reason I put it together.
Why didn't they just
Yeah.
say like? I don't know. They're separated. Your father's he's back in London. You know, he's gone.
Yeah,
One
your
line
English
about his-
brother is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm your brother, 17-year-old Black Dynamite. Yeah.
No, but she irritated me so much. The mum. See, you need to like the mum as well in these movies, and if you don't, then you don't really care too much when they're reunited. I cared more
Right.
about Ellie Kemper sympathizing with the kid than the mum coming back.
There was more emotion at the end when Ellie Kemper realizes what's happened and she
Yep.
starts treating the kid well. It's like, oh, she's such a good person. Like I like seeing the scene because she sells it.
Yep.
And then the mom is just like, this is a pale imitation of Catherine O'Hara, and all they had to give her the same coat so you kind of get what the idea is and frame the shots of her talking to like the ticketing agents the same way. So you guys like it's like the first movie, right? And you're like, yeah, but like I cared about Catherine O'Hara. I don't like this woman. Like I like Ashley B. I don't like this character she's playing.
Yeah.
I'm just more confounded by the whole scenario now. Why is she so English? Like it's. I did enjoy that they somewhat kept up the mild tradition of Home Alone movies where they had a recognizable face as the ticketing agent. Because it was in the first movie, it was Hope Davis was like the French.
Mhm.
Should go on to be acclaimed actress Hope Davis. The second one, Ali Sheedy,
Alice Sheedy.
and yeah, this one's Tinkerbella from The Guild, the hit online show.
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize
yeah,
it.
Amy
but-
Okuda.
Is that the Felicia Day?
Yeah. And every time Tinkerbella, like any of the cast of the Guild show up in something, I'm like, hey, it's what you calling from the Guild? And Amy Okuda, she's in a couple of things. She's in The Good Place and stuff for a while. But
Oh,
yeah,
how
so
to
she-
get away with murder? Huh.
Yeah. So as soon as she
I
popped
should've-
on, I'm like, hey, Tinkerbella.
Oh.
It's kind of keeping up the tradition of like the ticket agent has to be someone where you're like, oh, hey, look, it's so and so.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a John Hughes thing, because then you've got the ticket agent, or the rental car agent in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah.
The great Edie Clark with her scene. You're
Yeah.
effed there.
Well, it's the
Oh.
perfect place to put a cameo. I would have got someone
Yeah.
from the original movie playing a different character.
Oh, you should have got like one of the sisters maybe from the
Yeah.
McAllister family, or even have Daniel Stern there. Be like,
Yeah, Daniel.
That would be
Mark
great.
turned his life around. Now he's
Yeah.
working for the airlines.
Yeah, I mean the family's so large. There's so many kids that you would think they could have gotten more than Buzz as a
Yeah.
bit part.
Okay, what the elder Pete from
Yeah.
Pete and Pete could have come back.
Yeah, what's he up to these days? There you go. I'm surprised they haven't rebooted Pete and Pete.
Oh, I hope not. Man. This is too. That's much like the original Home Alone is such like a lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Pete and Pete's a thing that lives in the 90s. It was so special first time. It's like you can't do that again. Like it would feel like a cheap imitation. I feel, but
It doesn't stop them.
no,
I mean, they made Home Sweet Home Alone. Oh,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm joking. I do quite like it. It's not great by any means, but I thought it was fun enough.
Yeah.
Despite making fun of it here and pointing out all the problems.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, it is good if you just want to. If you're having people around for some eggnog or something along those lines, and you just want something in the background that you can kind of nitpick and talk over, but still kind of half watch. It's good in that regard, I guess. Like you'll get a lot of conversation out of it, as we have. I feel.
Yeah.
So-
I could see it being like a party game, like a good party film. Particularly if you have a family, if you're worried about arguments, if it's something where like, oh, every time you've got you got two family members, they don't get along, or your holiday gatherings always seem to dissolve into arguments, I would say put this on, and then you could all argue with the film. And it's like a common enemy. You could all just be annoyed at how bad the film is, and it'll kind of bring everyone together in that way.
Yeah. Also, one of the a couple of little things because they just do things where you have to copy and paste over. So there's musical cues that are identical, but then they have like in Buzz's theme, or no, Buzz's scene, they play the Wet Bandits theme. It does a and I was a bit confused. It's like because you initially, it's a cop. Is it gonna be like Harry? Because he was a cop, not he was a cop, but he was dressed as a cop at the beginning of the first one. And like, no, it's Buzz. It's like, is that supposed to be like a little bit of a bait and switch, or is it just like we just needed a music cue from the first movie?
Yeah,
so we threw in the one for the Wet Bandits.
Yeah, I mean, appropriate enough for the film we've been talking about, Home Alone 2, is the kind of they picked up a lot of the score, the John Williams score. There's a lot from the first two films, but the two songs, at least that I noticed, were both from Home Alone 2. They've got the Tom Petty, it's Christmas all over again, and then the Darlene Love song Christmas. I think that's also from Home Alone 2.
I just associate that with Gremlins, though. That's like the opening credits of Gremlins, right? That or maybe I'm thinking of a different song altogether. But
yeah, I did like so I will say I did like the music,
but would be remiss, of course, if we didn't point out as well that I can't connect this all back to Batman as I normally would do, but should say, of course, that kid was in Jojo Rabbit, as we said. And of course, Jojo Rabbit's mom was played by Scarlett Johansson, who of course was in Home Alone 3. So
Home Alone 3, yeah.
Everything's connected.
Everything's connected, yeah. So I mean, I'll just wrap it up. I'll reiterate the recommendation that I had if in my in the kind of the quick hot takes initial review we did when it first came out is if you haven't seen it yet, just fast forward to minute 45. And just watch, and then watch a half hour, and then stop, and don't watch the end.
I would actually say this: just watch all the Ellie Kemper scenes.
All the Ellie Kemper scenes.
Yeah, just all. If you cut out the kid, if you make the kid some sort of like weird, like faceless force in the movie where you never actually see him,
we'll have to do like the Phantom edit where they cut Jar Jar out of the Phantom Menace. We need a cut of this film where they cut out the kid.
Yeah. Be like a kind of nebulous entity that is the child of Home Sweet Home Alone. Nobody knows what he looks like or anything. He's just vaguely in the distance somehow. They know they have to get to him, but no one's ever seen what he looks like.
All right. So so other than that, what are your final thoughts on everything? I guess Home Sweet Home Alone or Home Alone 2 or the entire Home Alone cinematic universe, the HACU.
I'm just happy that you invited me on because I love the first one. I like the second one. The rest of them not so much, but the first two are just so iconic to me that I'm just delighted to be able to talk to people about them. Really, I'm so happy that they still resonate with me now as well. Considering I probably first watched them when I was like 5, 6.
Sure, yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on. We're glad you could come on and speak about it with us. Yeah, Niall, any closing thoughts, final thoughts?
No, just I'll probably reiterate what I said in the first season when you talk about Home Alone. Is just that that first movie is genuinely great. Like it's an actual like there's a reason why that's a classic. Like it works on every level, both in terms of comedy and actual emotional pull. The second one is still perfectly serviceable, but it just doesn't have that resonance, I don't think. Because it feels like it's so self-referential to the point of being like the Tom Petty song where it's it's Christmas all over. It just sounds like we're just tired having to even sing about the Christmas in it. And the franchise I am genuinely curious as to now that Disney has its claws in this thing, what they're going to do with it. Because they're like, okay, we threw out a reboot. Didn't work. What are we gonna do? They'll come up with something else. There'll definitely be another Home Alone movie within the next 10 years. I'm curious to see if they will add a zero to Macaulay's paycheck to get him to come back. Although I think, to be fair to him, I don't think you could do anything to get him back. I think he's just settled. That's a man. I think drag him back. with the hounds of hell couldn't get
Yeah.
him to appear in a Home Alone movie now.
I think he made enough money on his first round through that he can work or not work as much or as little as he likes, and I don't think he'd want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised, talking of that they didn't do for this in terms of what they can do or twists and turns. What seems to be big these days is the kind of the gender swap reboot like they did with Ghostbusters. Why not do? We had 5 of these films, and it's always the son left home alone. Why not have a little girl, have a daughter left home alone, and give her a chance to torture some strangers?
The wave of YouTube videos, Sean, about Wake Home Alone or Woke Home Alone, Lady McAllisters, and all. Oh, you can't. Why these woke SJWs? Why are they doing this to our beloved Home Alone?
God, yeah, they would complain about that.
I guess I was going to say they kind of did with the Harry of this movie is Ellie Kemper, but then I think all the other movies, they had a lady villain each time. Then after the first 2, so I guess maybe that's not a new concept to have the one of the burglars be a lady. But yeah, I mean, why not? At this point, I can imagine Disney is just like, sure, yeah, lady Home Alone, fine, yeah, go ahead, do it, yeah, little girl who's a bit like Kevin McAllister, fine, go right ahead.
So that's about it. And I will mention, so they did do. There's some like dog reboots or remakes of Home Alone where dogs get left home alone.
Wow.
I was a little surprised because that thought kind of popped into my head that I'm like, well, why don't they do this with dogs? And I'm like, well, let me Google it. Home Alone with dogs.
Sean is, of course, now working for Disney, and this is their tech.
Well, and they've done it. There was recently a Pups Alone with a dog left home alone. So
is it officially part of the Home Alone saga?
This is Sean now setting up the next season of the next scene. It's like, okay, so Pups Alone.
So we're going to be covering. Yeah.
Why not?
So.
Sorry for the interruption, but our recording failed just when Jon and Niall were about to let you know where you can hear more from them. So it falls to me to give you the plugs. Before I do that, I am going to thank all the guests for this year's holiday special, Home Alone 2 Lost in the Podcast. So thank you to all our guests, and thank you to all of you for listening. Niall and Jon are from Bat Minute, where they cover the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batman films 1 minute at a time. Find them at thebatminute.com, Bat Minute on the social media, and wherever better podcasts are found. Jon also analyzed Hedwig and the Angry Inch chapter by chapter on his show, Hedwig Inch by Angry Inch, and you can hear that at hedwigpodcast.com. Yeah, I've stuck by with you, and I'll recommend folks, if you haven't been listening to the Bat Minute, you really need to look in the mirror and think about the choices you're making in your life. But it's it's not too late. And one of the lessons of these Christmas movies is it's never too late to change. So all those episodes are still up at is it batminute.com? Or it's the Bat Minute.
Yeah.
The Bat Minute. Yeah.
Someone else got batminute.com. Screw them.
Screw them. Yeah, we don't like those guys. But yeah, at thebatminute.com. You can also go to my site, catandshawn.org, where I list all my podcasts, but also my guest appearances. If you just want to cut to the best minutes of each film, you can see where I was on. And I'll also toss out a plug for go to patreon.com/SleepyCharlieMedia and sign up as a patron. You can support Bat Minute and the show. And every dollar you donate goes towards getting a cameo with Coolio.
Hey, we'll do it. If we get enough, we'll do
it. So please go to patreon.com/SleepyCharlieMedia and give till we get Coolio.
I can't believe, though, my big takeaway from this recording will be getting a cameo from Coolio, probably cheaper than one pastry from the Plaza Hotel. Oh my God! I think I'm gonna have to go look up that menu now, just to show other people. I got a party tomorrow. I'll be just going around with a printed version of it. Can you believe this?
And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you. Yeah, thanks again, Jon and Niall. Thank you to all the guests that joined us today. Thank you, listeners, for listening. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you may or may not celebrate with with whatever family that you either have with you or have left behind. So thank you, everyone. And we will speak to you next time, or you will hear us next time. I gotta work. I have to have an ending.
Well, Merry Christmas,
yes.
or whatever you're celebrating.
Merry Christmas or whatever, and a Happy New Year. And we will see you next time on The Next Scene.